Yo, what is up, everybody? It's an Arbitrary Day of the Week, and I wanted to talk about, well, Clash, obviously. So you've probably already seen videos and streams and stuff of people playing Clash, and it's a buggy mess, and yada yada yada. It's an alpha. Surprisingly, the majority of comments I've seen about Clash on Twitter, on YouTube, etc., has been like one or two people going like, how could they release it like this? And then everyone else going, this is great. It's a buggy mess, but it's an alpha. I'm super excited. So that's pretty cool that people are actually understanding what Clash is right now and what it's trying to be, and it's showing a lot of promise. So that's awesome. Let's just talk about Clash as a whole, bit by bit, and I kind of want to start. We're actually going to jump into the Clash app right now, and I wanted to talk first about the card pool. I will say, when Dan said that there's going to be a limited card pool, I honestly expected there to be more bugs and more cards, but instead we got a pretty basic run of cards. We have all 8 spirits, that's kind of whatever, but then out of the spirits we have 44 other cards, I believe it is, and they're pretty limited. However, I think there's a couple things going on here. There's enough cards to build at least 1 or 2 different decks so that people can actually test the app out. And there's also the cards that they chose to put in here seem to cover the kind of gambit of different triggers, effects, and like kind of interaction styles that the game has. And I mean by that, like, so we have Rummagem. It's a searcher that has a specific search target, right? We have receive effects like Clovey. We have an expend effect in Securosaur. We have stat increases passively through a Tectorus. We have nexus effects through things like Ecolinks and Kinleo. We have on-destruction effects like Necrof triggers. We have a passive effect that triggers when something gets cast and reduces stats for a duration with Trifernal. We have an effect that reduces stats on an active effect. Like, they kind of hit all the little bits and pieces of effect types. You know, Sluggles here, it's a healing card, so it's recovering spirits, milling, stopping effects from activating, a discard effect, a different searcher, something that buffs stats temporarily, something that search stadiums. Ash Rabbit, it's wholly unique in its effect, so it's obviously something that they're working on. So I think part of the reason why these card pools are so limited is they gave us the card pool or selection of cards that allow players to go in and say, these are the types of effects that are working or not working. Here's how they're not working or working. You know, let's adjust, you know, eruptions here for burn effects, tsunamis here. As well, I guess, eruption. It's like tsunami doesn't turn defense position things that are water enchanted. So that's working as it should. I think that's really cool. Like, all these cards just kind of cover different trigger effects and effect styles and limitations. And like Shield Achilles can only be triggered at the right time when Shield Achilles face down. Like, it all is there to provide the stats, not stats, but the tools for the team to say, here's what's working, here's what's not working, here's why it's working, not working, and they can fix it. So the limited card pool, I think, helps them probably focus on the core bugs and issues easier than if we had 100-something cards and players are playing with 100-something cards, and all of a sudden you're not trying to fix a few core bugs of specific mechanics, you're trying to figure out which cards are broken. And I think it's honestly probably a decent idea to have the limited card pool right now, so it's a little bit more focused on texting, and players ideally aren't just playing the game, they are providing feedback on the bugs that they interact with, why they're interacting with those bugs and what's happening, and those mechanics can be tested. So that's really cool. I don't mind the smaller card pool for the obvious reason of they are trying to bug fix and work on it. It's an alpha. It is an alpha for players to provide feedback. So basically the player bases are the people helping build the alpha to test it, yada yada yada. So the bugs are hilarious when they happen. Most of them aren't really game breaking. Some of them are game warping, where it's like, okay, they're playing Ecolinks, I have to hold my Earthquake from the Ecolinks gets 100,000 attack. So that's hilarious, and it's kind of funny how there's like the meta calls of your deck building to counter the bugs in the game, which I was having a blast on stream trying to figure out. So that's about the bugs. I expected there'd be more. There's less. There's not a ton of game-breaking bugs, but they do exist. Something to work on. Please make your bug reports if you see them in the appropriate channels. But I really like it. I had a blast this class. So let's talk about next the UI. I don't want to harp on the UI because I really think the polish bits are going to be the end stage of the game. There are a few things about the UI that are clearly frustrating, even like once you understand them. Like the pass turn wheel, the auto pass isn't working properly. When it does work, which hopefully I can find the clip of, I had a couple games where the auto pass was working like a charm and it felt great. But generally, auto pass wasn't working. The text on the pass buttons were a little misleading, which once you realize, like, oh, hey, I'm just passing priority, not a big deal. The lasers are cool and they're functional for targeting and all that, but they could be a little bit probably slimmer and clearer as to what they're doing with them. But enchanting, re-enchanting, siphoning spirits, using spirits from on board to cast things, everything seems pretty intuitive, just clunky. Like, again, it's a bit of a polished situation. A lot of it's clunky. I know a lot of people want to provide their feedback of there should be a timer, there should be this, there should be that. Yeah, for sure. I do think all those things will happen. It's just, this is a pretty early test build of the game. It's functional. We can play the game. It's just some things will get changed later down the line. I don't think they're as important as making sure the game engine's running properly. So that's my kind of focus playing it right now. It's just seeing what's not supposed to happen when it's happening. So as far as the UI is concerned, I'm fine. I think it's fine. It'll get better and it'll be built upon. It's just, those are kind of the late stages things, the polish that should happen at the end. And lastly, I think I just want to talk about, like, I had a ton of fun. It's really fun. I want to keep playing it even in its current state, and I actually feel like jumping in and going like, hey, does this effect work? Does that effect work? And to that end, I think what would be best going forward right now is if players start getting together and saying, let's not actually play a game of Elestrals, let's play a game of Elestrals where we just like, okay, let's see if Trifernal's working, let's see if this card's working, let's stress test this card. And I see that happening in the Discord, so the player base is already going like, hey, this is really fun and all, but let's actually see what's broken and what's working and provide feedback on that, which is super cool. So yeah, if I know people want to jump into Alpha Clash and play Elestrals on Clash, but I think we're still a little bit in the space of people should probably go to Clash, team up with their friends to just see what they can do in Clash, see what they can break, have some fun. It was hilarious figuring out how to get the stats on Equal Links to over 1,000. Like, I had so much fun in Clash. I know it's not the end all be all, it's not the finished product, and everyone seems to understand that pretty well, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. So I just want to kind of go over that really quick and just say, I really like where Clash is at right now. I'm surprised that the game engine itself mostly didn't really get any rules wrong. There's a couple of weird chain in between two chains situations that technically need to be tweaked, but there wasn't really any rules engines problems. There's just some cards being bugged. Mostly none of them are game breaking. Some are just a little awkward. There's a glitch where like Equal Links has to pop its own rune and you can't click away from it, stuff like that. But otherwise, I like where Clash is at. I think it's only going to get better. And I think right now people's expectations to be, you want to play Clash not to play Elestrals, but to help make Clash better for Elestrals in the future. That's what the alpha should be. So hopefully people kind of key into that. I think most of the community has already, and a lot of people, again, as I mentioned earlier, the comment sections are like, hey, this is really cool to see it in this state. I hope it gets better. I know it's going to get better. We'll see how long it takes. It's just a time thing. The guys seem to be working pretty well. So that's Clash for you. I like it. If you want to see more Clash, check out my stream and my live category on YouTube from the other day. I was tinkering around with it. It took me a while to figure it out, but it was cool. So appreciate all you. Have a great day. That's my thoughts on Clash. Peace.